something you probably all noticed when you looked at the old town. You saw this really, really tall church in the old town, and this is called St. Olaf's church, and it's actually the tallest church in town. So you are not allowed to build buildings taller than this church, so it's officially the tallest building here, apart from the TV tower, that kind of has to be tall. But other than that, even the new skyscrapers we have in Tallinn, they're actually shorter than the church. One of them tried. There is this hotel called Swiss Hotel, you might know this, and they wanted to be taller, but the city said no, and they had to replan their whole thing. So it's quite strict, but I quite like it because it keeps the old town looking cool and the new is not overshadowing it. And the church currently, it's 123.7 meters tall, but it used to be even taller. In 16th century, it was almost 160 meters, and at the time, it was probably, well, not the tallest. We can't say it was the tallest because the measuring units were quite shady, but we can say that it was definitely one of the tallest buildings in the whole world. So quite impressive for 16th century, and even nowadays it is quite impressive. So it has picked up quite a story. And the story goes that 7 different builders tried to build the church, but they all fell down. So nobody wanted to build it anymore, as they said that the church is from the devil. But one day, a guy named Olaf came to town and said, "I will build the church for you if you give me 1,000 pieces of gold," which is a lot of money, but the city is desperate, so they agree. And Olaf starts building, it's going really well, but Olaf is sometimes seen speaking with this man dressed in red clothing. But nobody really minds, it's going fine, until the day comes when there's only one thing left to do: to put the rooster on top of the church. Now, you can imagine that it was quite a brave thing to do, so the whole city had gathered to watch. And Olaf climbs up there, puts the rooster on top, and at that very moment, Olaf falls down. And of course, everyone is shocked, except for the one man dressed in red who is laughing. And when Olaf falls down, of course Olaf dies, but out of his mouth come a snake and a frog. And at that very moment, the man dressed in red disappears into thin air. So now everyone knows that it was the work of the devil, and the man in red was the devil himself. So later on, when Olaf's wife is offered the money, the 1,000 pieces of gold, she never accepts, because it's the money from the devil and she couldn't be happy with it. So that's the story. Obviously, it might not be a true story, especially because show me a person who doesn't accept 1,000 pieces of gold. I think that's the biggest gap in the story, but definitely a good story, and it does have some grounds because in 16th century they didn't have the safety equipment we have nowadays, and also it's been hit by lightning. Not 1 or 2 times, but 10 times. So that's why it's shortened over time, and it's a bit shorter nowadays. But it does give some ideas to come up with the stories. But if you are not afraid of the devil, you can actually climb up there nowadays and climb all the way up where the middle is kind of where the spire starts. And it costs a couple of euros, and it's a very narrow and of course a long climb, but if you can do it, then you get a very nice view. So that's again one of the things to do in town.
Did you say they put chicken on it?
Rooster, yes. They used to put the roosters because there's the story in the Bible that says that when a rooster has crowed 3 times, then Jesus has to be betrayed, right? So rooster was seen as a symbol of protection, and they used to put them up there, but nowadays there's a cross. And most of the churches nowadays have crosses.
Didn't protect the guy who carried it down there.
It did not, unfortunately.
That's because he left it there.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe he shouldn't have left it. Yeah. But anything else?
Too bad. You pay attention. I will tell you the story. I will tell you the
You
story
will
later.
hear. We will go down some stairs now, so you have time to tell the